Thank you so much for joining our webinar today, either as a video or as a podcast format. Today, we, together with Sevkan and Theo, will discuss diversity, equity, inclusion topic, some initiatives within the recruitment processes, shifts, challenges, and stuff. And this is the topic we will be covering. Maybe a quick introduction on all of our ends. I would start with myself. My name is Uliana. I work as a talent acquisition associate at Avomind. Basically, what we are doing is hiring for any location, any industry, any seniority level, working as a recruitment agency, doing executive search. And of course, when you are doing executive search, diversity, equity, inclusion topic is something super relevant and appearing within all of the processes. And this is why we decided to also do a specific conversation, as we see a lot of initiatives going on, specifically in the German market, as this is the market we are also focusing on as Avomind a lot, since, we're based in Berlin and stuff. So super shortly about me, and I would also like to give a small intro from Sevkan and Theodora, and feel free to start, Theo, if I could ask you to start first.
Yes, sure. Hello, everybody. Thank you. And I'm feeling honored to be here and to talk about a really important topic. So before we dive deep to it, I'm Theodora. I'm also based in Berlin and I have my own startup, really early stage startup. So I'm working, I'm a diverse founder. We're having a diverse startup. So it's also really important how we will continue with how the whole hiring process was coming towards us. And what we're doing is we created an app where we matchmake solo travelers based on personality types and not only the next destination, which is also important, but more human focus. And I think this is also a super human centric topic that we're going to talk about. So feel free to connect with me as well. And I will pass over to Sevkan.
Thank you so much.
Theo. Thank you. Yes, my name is Sevkan or Seth, and I'm the director for HR for EterniTeam. And what we do is basically we really buy small companies, and then we place the new CEO. And what we also do is, I think it's a bit unique, is we give shares, real shares of the company to the employees who work there and to the new CEO. And I think diversity here is also for us very important because we would like to place also women, or people who are not privileged money-wise, who could build a company, and that's very exciting. And I'm recruiting my whole life already. Had a lot of visa cases. This is also where my expertise is, and yes, I'm really looking forward to be today here and share what I know.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Sevkan. In case, we're starting within this general diversity topic, you've mentioned that this is something you really focus on in your work, Sevkan. So may I ask you to explain generally what do we understand by this diversity, equity, inclusion? What do we understand within this shift, and how can we see it in your position, for example? If you could give us a bit of examples and stuff.
Yes. So this diversity, inclusion. I'm very sorry. Yeah.
It's all right.
So what that does that. What does that mean? Yeah. So that comes when you speak too much the whole day. Is this topic? What I see is, especially now in the environment, I would say especially in Berlin, is that really also the younger generation takes this really more serious, and they live it. They really truly live it, and they mean it. As I said, we buy more traditional companies, and I see a shift also there. But you see that I would say older REIT is more like, okay, we have to do that because also there is a shortage of really qualified employees. But I see definitely a shift there that with the really younger employees, they're way more aware of it, and they truly care for it. Also, what I've seen is in startups, mostly it comes natural. The hiring really comes natural with it, and you don't really have to implement policies. Although I would say that there should be always some kind of regulations and policies just to make sure we are all human beings. We make mistakes, is what I see. And you also need to have a controlling system that it's still, or that DEI is still really watched and carefully treated. This is what I would say, but I like in general the shift. But I would see also there is, it's more accepted now, or DEI hiring is more on a lower level. I see that more than what I see in traditional companies on the higher level. So I think this is something, yeah, with people getting more older, and so that changes. But this is what I really see, that there is still a bit of a gap here when it comes to the hierarchy of the hiring. I think Berlin is also more unique. Really, I have to say Berlin is more unique when you compare it also to a big city like Munich. Yeah, you have way more in a higher position, like really women, people of color, diverse backgrounds, etc., in higher positions in Berlin than I've seen myself in Munich, for example. No bash to Munich. Munich is great. Yeah, I think they're also evolving and developing themselves there, but Berlin is here way far ahead, I think, when it comes to Germany.
Mm-hmm. And how would you yourself explain this difference between, they say Berlin is not Germany sometimes. So why do you think it's so different? And do you think it's different in terms of policies and regulations, or in terms of the general mindset, if I can put it that way?
Mm-hmm. So the regulations are German-wide the same. Yeah, I don't think it's that. I think that Berlin just is from the population as bigger, had also a bigger population of immigrants, yeah, who established here, and that's why Berlin evolved itself, because they really fast realized, because then our parents, when they came, they sent their kids to school, higher education, etc. So in Berlin, it was just on the early beginnings, very way more accepted. And then with the whole shift, people coming from actually all around the world. Yeah, I think Berlin made a huge growth within the last 10 years. And so I think that Berliners are way more than adapting quicker and accepting more their fate. Let me say it like that. But the regulations are German-wide the same, and I think it's way more. Berlin always had been a bit more far ahead when it came to a lot of things. Yeah. Also, I mean, the first parades here with techno music, with gays, and you were open, and that was in Berlin. Yeah, so in the other cities it was like different, and I think that shifting, I would say, also in the west of Germany, like Cologne, it's also a bit different. But I think in more way traditional German cities, that took way longer. I think they're still way more conservative, but regulations are German-wide the same. It's just, I think that Berlin is way more, maybe evolved way faster.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Theodora, since you're also based in Berlin, I would like to hear how you see this this shift, because something you're focusing on, what we discussed like before the call and stuff, is this remote setup. So I would like to hear your perspective in regards like Berlin, Germany comparison, and in general Germany, or in general the whole world, if we are comparing, Europe, US. We also discussed it just a bit previously. So yeah, feel free to add anything you think is important at this point.
So definitely you're both right, and Sevkan, especially saying like Berlin is unique and not part of Germany, or like a different part of Germany. I mean, I recently moved to Berlin. It was March this year, so just a couple of months ago, and it's truly a difference. I moved from Stuttgart, like close to Stuttgart, from the south of Germany. And there, there are like the big brands everybody knows in the automotive industry. And honestly, I studied finance, and with this finance background. I really want to go into those big companies. And when I did a lot of internships there, I realized, oh wait, like nobody is really like me. Everybody's like those a lot of cis white older men, and it was a little bit shocking for myself seeing this as thought, okay, I'm not really welcome there, even if they're all friendly and kind. If you don't see a representative person in the company, you feel weird. At least this is how it was for me. And then coming to Berlin here, obviously, then I started my own startup and was like, you know, I want to create not only a startup, I want to create this work culture that everybody is welcome and seen. And so let's see where I will go. But coming to Berlin, I have the feeling that everybody can be themselves, and that's totally okay and fine. And you really look into the skills of people and not only, you know, the background or judgy. I think Berlin is less judgy and more open to see people with their skill sets regarding the age, the race, the gender, the sexuality, which in my case should always be like that. But yeah, it's a bubble itself, a beautiful bubble, I would say.
Thank you. You've mentioned this phrase of like white cis old men, and I have a question to you both. What's wrong with this concept of like, I don't know, 80% of employees being white cis men in their like old 40s or something? So why is it bad, or like why is it something we need to shift from? Whoever wants to start.
I mean, what
And
I always see, and then Sevkan, you can definitely add on everything. What I see about innovation when it comes to innovation, you cannot thrive innovation or build something when you're all the same. Like we are all biased and we love people who are like us, but we think then alike. And innovation only happens when we don't think really alike. I mean, the values can be the same and similar, but how we thrive innovation is by really this having people around you that are not like you. And I don't know, Sevkan, how you see that. That's why it's a huge problem if you only have the same people, especially in higher positions, because I don't think that's something
yes,
will change.
exactly. Theo, you're absolutely right. I think it's also already, there are so many, it's scientifically proven, yeah, when teams and people are the same and that heterogeneity is not good. Yeah, so is good. I mean, homogeneity. Yeah, so, yeah, it's really proven that when you're different in a team, that it gives you an advantage, whether it's for your business, for the team, for the development, etc. So, and I just really believe, I always tell people, hire people who are different than you. Yeah, because you have a certain mindset, and then it's good to have someone who's an add-on to you and not just the same as you. So I think there is a little shift, but as I said, I would say it's a generation, like there is a generational gap and difference. So millennials and Gen Z, if we want to frame it, they're different than still like boomer generation. I think Gen X is maybe in between. So yeah.
And something that also connected to this, to this whole quotes unquote basic question is what I would like to hear more about, why this shift matters for business. Because when it comes to higher positions and to people or like of C-level, it often get questioned in regards to how it will affect the numbers, how it will affect money, if it's really something we need to do. And it's something also we've been noticing in huge corporations that okay, we have this DEI shift, but actually it doesn't really work. It's something they're using again to show to the public, which is not like changing anything. So I would like to ask you, how do you see this? If it's really, first of all, needed. I know we've discussed it, but I would like to go a bit deeper in this specific part, and also if it's really happening, because you've mentioned, Sevkan, this gap, and I want to also focus on like this reality versus show offing, if we could put it that way. So how do you see this, Sevkan?
Yes. So, yeah, I see that there are some companies just to show off on LinkedIn, etc. They hire a few positions, and what I always say, look deeper into it. Yeah. So check who's working there. If you say the same people, and then you just see really partial, punctually people with a different name or different, yeah, the way they look, then it says already a lot. I always say that, yeah. But that's the thing. So, and then you know who's just hiring because it was maybe just in need or on the web page. Yeah. When it's all actually maybe 90% of the people, it's the same kind of people working there, and on the web page it's people of color and this and that. I would say then you see it really there, and then the difference is, I have to say, the companies who truly really live DEI, who care for it, they don't really make like show it off that much. Yeah, it's because it's come so natural on their Instagram, on their LinkedIn, and you see a consistency. This is what I've seen, and I would have to unfortunately say that the traditional companies are the ones who show way more off. And then, when it's Pride Month, they change the logo, but it's true that when people work there, they cannot really show that they are maybe, yeah, homosexual or whatever. So, and that's the difference. I don't know any startup, I have to really say, where people worked were homosexual or whatever and complained that they were looked at different or so. But yeah, I really recommend people go on their web pages, look who really work there, and then it says already a lot. So, but yeah, I see that.
Theodora, what about you? How do you see this?
I just wanted also to mention, especially the Pride Month, where everybody is right, happily being part of the Pride and supporting the LGBTQ plus community. But it's not only that month, it's so much marketing and so much greenwashing in this way, which is incredible. So as you said, I've kind of like really look deeper into it, and if we see like numbers wise, like it's not also something to have good, like to have something because that's how the laws say or regulation. Like it actually drives profitability. It gives you more revenue, and it's proven. I think McKinsey made a lot of studies about it and research. And they say like numbers more than 20, sometimes 30% more revenues when you have diverse teams. So it's not only something we say is good to have, but it's something necessary also if you want to thrive better as a company. I mean, we're all humans and we all have our different kind of personalities and things that shaped us and our knowledge. So I think you didn't even, but we still have a lot of years to come to this point, I think, shouldn't even think, oh, should I hire, um, which kind of diverse people in my team, just, to have like a check mark list. It should be like natural to do so. And again, not discriminating any cis white men, okay? They're also needed. Everybody is needed. And this is something we have to understand, that we are not taking away something from somebody. We're just creating something more. So it's more an fusion, I would say, than an inclusion, but more like a fusion of human beings.
Sure. No, absolutely agreed. I like the way you phrase it, the checklist part, because of course, like it looks that way. And maybe when we're talking about this checklist part, what I'm thinking about is this like regulations and this part of like official quotas, official like needs from the government side. And I would just like to hear a bit more from your end, Sevkan, since it's like your part, like your area of expertise. How does it look like currently in Germany, and how does it look like a checkbox list with like, yeah, we need to hire like 10% of those, 5% of that, or generally how does it look like, and if that works?
So there is the only basically quota you have is for handicapped people. Yeah, after a certain size, you have to have 1, 2, 3, etc. But what is sad here is with this regulation, I have to really say, is if you do not hire, you just pay a fee. Yeah, so a compensation fee. A lot of companies unfortunately do that. Yeah, but then we have basically a law. Yeah, it's the General Equal Treatment Act. Yeah, AGG, and that should basically protect every employee. Yeah, so you don't get not selected for a job because of your sexual orientation, skin color, race, age. Yeah, so it should protect employees not to get discriminated. And there is also an institution where employee or people who are applying, for example, for jobs, where they can go. Yeah, so and then you can file a complaint against the company. Yeah, so but how does the reality look like with these complaints? So this institution cannot really check what's going on in the company. Yeah, and then what happens is like, the maybe the HR person, the recruiter, whoever, the CEO is then filing out the report, is saying, hey, that's not true, these were my candidates. As soon as you had also candidates with different names, because there are companies who just sometimes invite for these kind of sake, yeah, or for the works council, for example, and then there is nothing they can do. Yeah, so that's the thing. And then yes, the bigger companies have this works council, betriebsrat. Yeah, they should also watch that. But working with works council, seeing that there is a difference, I have to here say again, startup works council, yes, they really truly take care that DEI it's watched, and that they, hey, you only have here Peter, Linas, etc., like the same name. It's like, so, and then but in traditional companies, I have to say that also the works council is the same kind of people. So, and there I see more when it comes to hiring there, that in the last rounds it's also always the same kind of people. Yeah, white cis men who are far ahead. Yeah.
Mhm, mhm. How would you say, if we are comparing it to other countries or other regions in terms of this DEI solutions or DEI legislations, do you feel that we can use, for example, the existing cases, for example, from the US or from the UK, and apply it to the DACH market, specifically to the German market? Or would it even work, or it would not like be applicable to this specific region of Germany?
I really don't think it's applicable. The thing is, with the US and UK models, it has a historic background, and it's way more, everything is way more regulated. It's way more embedded in the legal systems. But that also means that these models are way more vulnerable to political shifts. We see it right now, how fast this can be shifted. Whereas I see in the DACH region, it's way better, I have to say, structured, because in the DACH regions, it's anyway a very strong employee-friendly environment. Yeah, employees are very protected. Really, in Germany, in Austria, and Switzerland, a bit less than Austria and Germany, I have to say. And it comes way more than natural. It's like this mindset, we have these rules, and then there is this law, and these laws are not that vulnerable to political shifts as we have it in the US. This is really what I see. And I think that really, I have the feeling that in the DACH regions, the people want to live it. They want to drive the change truly, without them being a force and having these, I have to really say, ridiculous videos. Oh, this is what you do. And then you go to HR, etc., where it's like, hey, you have an issue. Yes, of course, we are there. So it's all so much regulated what you can say. If you're in the elevator, you do not look at the person, and, it's way too much regulated, but in a not good way, I would say. But Theo, please add something if you think it's wrong. But this is what I see.
I was actually thinking, or like asking myself, is it that transparent in Germany? Because I know, in the US, everything. It's basically like a different, also data security. So how I'm questioning myself, how really transparent is it in Germany? And are they even publishing the real numbers or publishing anything? Because it's different when you have the mindset, like a Berlin mindset. And if you really do it and publish all those numbers, like how is it regulated there?
Yeah.
Here.
So in Germany, the thing is, it's really good because actually everything is reported. Yeah.
Okay.
So you have all, when you do, for example, the payroll, it's reported. What is your nationality? You have even two, etc. What's your background? What have you studied? Where have you learned, etc. So, and also you provide it to the several institutions, unemployment agency, etc. So this is really then all data based. So you cannot just basically make numbers nice. So I think that's good here, so that the companies, it's of course it's more close, but these are then really real numbers because you have to report these numbers. Yeah. So but yeah, of course, Theo, I agree with you in one thing. Reporting to institutions numbers is not comparable with putting that on the website. I barely see companies advertising we have 80% of these kind of employees or whatever. Yeah. So I agree with you. What I just see is a bit as a different is I would say with the younger generations is like they deeply want a change. Yeah. And I think here is that's important. A change really should come from you. Of course, you should have regulations. It should be not like completely unregulated. There should be regulations people should be aware of, people can go to. It's good that we have this general treatment act, AGG, yeah, Equal Treatment Act. It is important that people can go complain. You need that for sure. Yeah. So but just with the US, I see this volatile, like suddenly there is a new president, everything is vanished. For me, shocking that also companies like just went with it. I really, that was shocking. And before they were like, oh, Pride Month and everything and diversity, how fast they change. And I believe that in the DACH regions, it wouldn't be like that. And you see it, they stand way more on the grounds. That's the difference I see.
Thank you so much. And yeah, for sure, when it comes to the US, of course, it's super different from the European context. And maybe something else I would like to ask you about is how the general European Union policy affects Germany, if it affects Germany, and if it affects the general diversity, equity, inclusion topic. If any regulation exists, I assume they should exist or not. So if you could dive deep into this part.
Yeah, so I have to say that Germany is quite compliant, because it had always a very strong employee-friendly mindset, laws and regulations. Yeah, so I'm, if I really remember correctly, I don't think that Germany violates anything towards DEI regulations. Although I have to say, on the European part, the DEI regulations is the bare minimum. It's really like the bar is not really high. They are not saying to companies, hey, you have to, for example, if you only hire men in high position, there has to be a woman. It was a very long debate in Germany, yeah, to have these quotas. And then they said like really big companies should have it. And then it was like, oh, who wants to be a quota woman? Like all of that. So the European Union, yeah, it's more not really towards DEI, I have to say. It's more employees regulated, data protection. But look, if we see that you can just pay a fee and you don't have to hire a handicapped person, yeah, that says already a lot. I think here the regulation could be stricter here and there. I really believe so.
Yeah, Theo, please.
I mean, the whole quota thing, it's still until today causes a lot of discussions. And I'm like, well, we didn't have a quota for so long. And it was already like, even if the regulations are there and telling people, even data is saying more revenue, more profitability. I mean, we now see also in the DAX companies, I don't know, 10, 15 max. I don't know how many females are there as leaders and leading those DAX companies, like blue chip and those companies that really drive our economy as well. And then we needed this quota because nothing would change, because they were saying, okay, we actually didn't find a woman that could, with those skill sets, which was all a little bit of bullshit bingo, I would say. So sometimes we need a quota, even if we are like, okay, the regulations are there. Look, this is from my point of view. We need the quota, but not again to hire somebody and it's a quota woman, and I don't know, not giving any leader position. This is the next thing that I see. A lot of times you do it for marketing, but not giving those diverse people a leading position, a managing position. So I think still a lot of things need to change, but I'm also having like a really big trust in the younger generation, in millennials and in Gen Z generation, that we really will make this big change that is needed everywhere around the globe, and just hire because of skill sets, and make it diverse anyways. But yeah, until then, we still need, I think, a lot of regulations too.
Yeah, something you both mentioned a lot is that regulation it's less important than general mindset, than the general desire. And what I would like to know a bit more about is how do you think it shows in terms of like what people want in general in terms of diversity part? Because all right, we have this gender topic, we have this sexuality topic, and I would like to hear more on your opinion on what else is included in diversity, equity, inclusion. So we might think about age, all right, but then it gets less and less like obvious, quotes and quotes.
Yeah, so
You.
any of those. I mean, there should be like, I don't know how many groups there are in this diversity aspect, but definitely like race or like ethics. I don't like race because we're only one human race anyway. But ethics, genders, religion might be also into this. Disabilities, age, sexuality, identity. Like there are so many different layers when it comes to diversity, and yeah, I don't know, Sevkan, how you see it. Like we focus, I have the feeling, more on this gender, and we still divide gender into two, woman and female, and that's it. Try to make somehow, this more equal. We still are not there to make this two genders equal to each other. So I see a big challenge for the whole world to make diversity really equal on all those different kind of levels, as we said.
Yeah, Theo, I agree. It's always about gender or skin color. Yeah, that's what I see, and there is so much more to it because what some people fall in between. Yeah, some even say I don't I whether either identify as female or male, and I always wonder, why do people care? Why? Why would I care what you like, what you identify? You are a good human being. Yeah, you work. I don't care about the rest. I've really, this is what I don't get. And isn't it good if you don't understand that? And I also a few years ago didn't understand, and now have it in my own family, basically having someone who is transgender, and then you don't understand. And so what? I don't understand. I don't have to, but explain it to me, and then you learn from it. And isn't it then nice? And then sometimes you meet someone who's so much different than you, and then you have something in common. This is always what, isn't it then enlightening? Yeah. So that's what I. But yeah, it's always divided by gender, and then the skin color, like as if there is nothing else. And yeah. And I have to say also, I think a bit the age, but whether it's when you're too old or too young. Yeah, this is what I see, that when you're too young and I think maybe Theo, you heard it, maybe you are young, you're successful. What are you doing? You don't know the life. You had never have seen it. What do you understand about this topic? But this is a bit that I see, that sometimes the younger generation, they get laughed at a bit, like, taken serious. And whereas I have to say that younger people, they respect the older people way more than it's sometimes the other way around. This is what I've seen. Yeah. So, but yeah.
100%. I mean, now when you're finishing your master's or bachelor's, you already have to work 10 years of have 10 years of experience to get hired, which is insane. Like, we have to become more realistic and more human. As you said, you're either, a good human being or a bad one. But it's crazy how people make so many differences, and because one race as we are. So it was funny because how I met my co-founder was not I was looking for a specific gender, was not like I was looking for a specific age or like sexuality, It was a networking event, and I was just talking to people and then realized, oh my God, this dude has really good skill set that are complementary to mine, like the ones that I don't have, he has. I had no clue how old he is, where he's coming from, what is his sexuality, his gender. I had no clue. I just talked to him about the skills and we exchanged, and we're like, I think we're a match. Same for him. He didn't ask me any super personal questions. We just thought, hey, can we match on a human level? Like, what are our values and what are our skill sets? And that's it. And it's so crazy that this is not happening regularly, So, yeah, this is how it happened for me.
May I add something, Theo, because I think you're a very open-minded person. You have this personality. I think that people in general are, everything what is new scares you first. It's like you take a step back. Yeah. And if you're naturally curious, and there are some people who are like that, you just eat whatever they see, and then it comes for you more natural. And I think that and I wonder, how can you take this, that you're scared of that something new and you cannot explore, you cannot go outside of your comfort zone to just explore that. Yeah. So, but yeah.
That's really interesting what you said, because I think I'm more the curious person, so I go to the people and just, talking openly about it. But I'm also a solo traveler for almost 10 years, so getting out of my comfort zone is like something I do regularly. So interesting, if we might have a strategy on how to see how not to be scared for something we don't know and to be more curious about something we don't know. Honestly,
Yeah.
I don't know how we could change that.
Me neither. But and I don't know even Theo. Yeah, just for but you just feel the whole energy, everything you're saying, and it's just that you just feel okay. That's a person. You just jump off the cliff. This is what I say. You're scared of it, jump. But people in a good way. Yeah. So, but yeah, there is not everyone, and what can we do to? I think just yes, with diversity, you could work with it, and someone older with a younger, and how does it work, how does this person see the world? We have an intern, and he's younger than us, but he lights up the room really with the way he sometimes thinks. It's like it's great because we are like more than the older ones. Yeah, this is how he calls us. And the way he thinks about stuff is like, hey, I haven't thought about it. Great. And that's what I love. It's yeah.
Yeah, it feels like it really works when we have a real example of diversity and when we experience itself just from our own point of view, because for sure this is how it works from my opinion. Then you really need to have this experience, and the other way, like, it's super hard to believe that this stuff works. Something you've also slightly covered, and I want to come back to this a bit, is different some other direction of inclusion, and this is something Theo talked a lot previously, like before the webinar, and I'm talking about those direction of the concept of the culture fit, some kind of new setups such as like a remote work, which we had like discovered after COVID started, some part-time positions which are like switching from full-time roles, and all of those different sets that right now appear, and I would like to hear your thoughts on how is this included in the DEI topic, if this is included, and if so, why? Theo, I think I would ask you first, and then Sevkan, happy to also hear your thoughts.
Yeah, so we are also building remote first. Like my co-founder is down in the south of Germany in Stuttgart, and I'm now in Berlin. And we're working also with an advisor, close to also in Baden-Württemberg. And so, I mean, I'm glad that COVID happened because I don't think remote work will be reaching that level that it has right now. And I do see huge possibilities on remote work, even though it has its challenges. What everything has its challenges, and it good sides. Um, to also hire people that you would never have reached, like in rural areas, and like you have a different talent pool now available to you. And we recently opened internships position, and we got a lot of applications. So I'm also super curious to see which kind of people applied. But honestly, I don't have like in my mind, I hope it's only female, or I hope it's only non-binary people, or I hope they're diverse. Like, I don't know. I do think differently, and I'm like so curious about all this kind of people, curious about them, like what did they achieve in their lives, how did they come up to us, and what is their motivation for working for us. So we're gonna hire our first interns remotely, so it will also like managing a little bit of bigger team remotely, which is a challenge for us. But I do believe this opened like the doors for even such a huge amount of people applying for our internship positions. Because if we would say only in Stuttgart, it narrows everything already down, and you also have like kind of similar people. I mean, if you put it in Berlin, you might reach more diverse people than if you put it in a really small town in Germany, in the south of Germany. So I think it's a huge opportunity for a lot of companies to, and a lot of, diverse people to get more opportunities for themselves.
Mhm.
So 100%.
Yeah, I would also say, if you hire remote, if you're open to Europe or the whole world, um, diverse hiring and diverse in any way happens way more naturally because,
Mm.
that's I think also something good working remote because I would also say if you have a remote company, or Theo, this would be my impression. Remote companies are naturally more diverse. That's an assumption I would make.
I would actually say so, because also we talked to a person who wanted to join from the global south. Like, how would we
Mm.
ever do that? And I mean, also this status quo, sometimes, you dress a specific way when you come to the office, and offices have their good sides, but also like their bad sides. Imagine people cannot afford those kind of clothes, and they already are judged by clothes. So also clothes for me are like, um, you shouldn't judge a person by clothes or how they appear to you. Obviously, hygiene and so on, I take it off. But
Mhm. Mhm.
I think this also might change the way we judge each other. I hope so, and make it like more more flexible also to adapt your working life to your lifestyle. And I
Mhm.
think there is also a huge change that is coming with the remote work, that you create your lifestyle and then you adapt your working schedule, not the other way around. I think this is also
Mhm.
something I see in my also younger generation, because we not only want to work and live, we want to live, experience the world and everything. So work is something that helps us hopefully create an impact in the world when we work for a nice company or with the right people, or even create our own company, and then also, experience life as it should be. So yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. How would you say this work culture affects, or rather, diversity, equity, inclusion topic affects work culture? If you can see this in Germany, and of course, like we're still talking about this comparison between startups and big companies, right? But if you feel that any switch happening in regarding to, finding the culture fit person, if it's like what connotation does this thing has?
How it might shift your culture, also the remote part, you asked?
What I mean, yeah.
I mean, for me, culture is something you as a leader have to be a role model for it. You cannot just write again, also like the checklist, you cannot write on your website, this is our values, this is our culture, that's it. You really have to live it. So I think it's really important to have this inside look into ourselves as leaders and be like, what kind of person do I want to become? And which kind of role model do I want to become? And I think the more, even in remote positions, you show which kind of leader you are, I do believe you can change also the culture and affect or inspire other people remotely, globally. And obviously you have to be culturally super aware, like intercultural awareness.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be aware of it. You have to know how people are receiving feedback, how they're communicating. What I love to do is personality tests, not that we stick on them, but I did this with my co-founder. I did this with our coach, with my co-advisor. With myself, I open up first. So, just to understand each other a little bit better and these personalities and still um, lead as a role model, how you want to shape your culture and also give the other people or the understanding, the empathy of which kind of cultural background they are coming from and how we
Mm-hmm.
can create a culture that is diverse, that is open, that is inclusive together. But it starts everything with us as the leaders, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sevkan, what do you think about this?
I would say I agree with Theo, and I think that you need to invest more when you create um, a culture where everyone feels welcomed when you are remote working. This is what
Mm.
I would say. It's easier being in the office because then you have these different kind of people and then you kind of get it way more. When you write something, it can be interpreted, but when you speak, it's different. So I would say I think it's even way more difficult to really make
Mm.
everyone feel included, yeah, and understanding and not stepping boundaries and being like, we all work different. So I really admire that when I see fully remote companies and the employees are truly happy, feel included, welcome, understand, and yeah, really, chapeau. I think it's way more work because when you're in the office, it comes a bit more natural, I would say, but you are then more observant. You see that if someone is laughing and dropping a joke, not an inappropriate joke, but rather just really a normal joke, or you just see, that's the way the person speaks. It's nothing against me. Yeah.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, something you've mentioned is that right now you have a new intern joining, and you will have this fully remote onboarding process. So, how do you think companies could do this process more smoothly? Because again, not the classical situation, even though it's been like 5 years since COVID started, but it feels like we still have a bunch of knowledge gaps in terms of how to actually do like inclusive remote setup really working. So if you have any like thoughts or tips on how to manage like not only onboarding but the general remote structure, I would really be interested in hearing about this from your perspective.
I would say we still are figuring this out, how it works with like more people on board. Because again, at the beginning with my co-founder, and we were three co-founders at the beginning, now we are two, due to mental struggles, and I totally understand this, and that's why you have to create this culture of openness and transparency and vulnerability that you can talk about this kind of topics before you burn yourself out. Um, so what we did at the beginning, because we were all in the area of Stuttgart, we met frequently offline, so we could know each other, we could see each other, have the feeling of each other, did some workshops on team building with each other. So this is how I wanted to start off my startup with my co-founders. When the team grew, I started by myself, so I kind of hired them or like inspire them to join my startup. Now it's our startup. And so it will be, I'm really thinking about it, and I have to set up all this onboarding process smoothly, like during summer, like during now July and August, and see how this will work. Like for me, most like what is really important is to understand the person motivation behind it, the intentions behind it. Also, when we get like new people, and how can they benefit us, but also how can we benefit them? It's like creating the win-win situation. So I'm
Mhm.
in the process of figuring this out. So maybe Sevkan, you can give me also some tips how this would even work more smoothly, so I can learn.
Happy to do so, but I really have to generally say um, it's way more tough. I feel remote because you don't want to be controlling, yeah, and micromanaging in a way, and still on board the person. But I would say that it's very important that everything is written down. This is what I did, implemented. I back then with Notion. This is how you communicate. This is how you approach. Like having policies written down people can read, easily understand, and then knock on your virtual door to ask. And I think what I did was having like coffee chats, yeah, that people meet, speak outside of work stuff. Also, like having like these game nights, but not forcing people. There are some
Mm.
people, and we have to accept that they don't want to connect on a deeper level with their colleagues, and this is fine. And then there are some, they enjoy remote working, but they still want the contact. Then there you go. This is how I divided it, and not forcing people. And then maybe if it's possible, budget wise, maybe like meeting once per year would be, I think, also something nice. Having an offsite and
Mm.
yeah. But I think policies, having them written down and then checking in regularly, without being micromanaging or controlling this. But yeah, it's
Mhm.
tough. I have to say, Theo, I respect that really. So it is
Yeah,
different. It is, I feel like, a bit easier if you're all in the same office. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
100%.
yeah, definitely. Definitely. At Avomind, what we have a combination with the remote team and the on-site team. So we have our team in Berlin, and also I think two-thirds of our team is remote, so spread out throughout the Asia Pacific region, Americas, the whole European country stuff. And this is something we're doing as well. So we are doing coffee chats, rather like we call it a coffee break. Once per some time we have a global conversation. Either we are like presenting something, or we are doing some like online games. Yeah, like nothing extra, just something like chilly and like an hour of not doing anything together, right? What we also have included, like recently, half a year ago, we've decided to switch from classical coffee breaks, like calls, to weekly activities which do not require specifically face-to-face communication, because sometimes we're super busy or
Mm.
overwhelmed and stuff, because again we are doing recruitment. Sometimes conversation is tough, like to continue with. So we decided to add some activities which we're doing in our like chat rooms. For example, share your favorite movie, or show us the recent picture you took and tell us like what is the context. And it really helped because when it comes to the calls, as you mentioned, not everyone really want to have this like direct specific conversation, because sometimes it feels forced,
Mhm.
especially when it comes to the bigger companies. So in this case, you can just drop like a simple small message, and you don't have to do anything. Like you can react to others, and you can just drop it and stay silent. And I think it's also gives some sort of inclusivity towards like neurodivergency and towards general
Mhm.
mindset of like introversion and extroversion, because we are all super different. And I think it's good to have different channels on how to maintain this remote setup working. So yeah, second, I also wanted to ask you about like the general hiring, how this remote thingy works within the hiring, within the recruitment processes, with those like video interviews, if it's something that works, and if it's something that adds inclusivity also, or if you have any, let's say, challenges when it comes to this recruitment part specifically.
Mhm. So I would say, I mean, we are hiring well for a long time. Even if we are in the same city, it's always first an online call. I think that's now really great that it's established. Yeah, it
Hmm.
saves everyone so much time. And since we are hiring Germany wide, it's really until the last stage, everything is remote, completely remote, which makes it so much easier. And I think that is really much established. This is also what I see in traditional companies. What I see is more in small companies, yeah, crafts, well, for example. Of course, they need more the touch, but I think that is very well established. What I see when it comes to DEI and recruiting is AI is used in recruiting. I think it is great. Yeah, it's a great help of CV screening, but there are 2 points. You can now select easier people out because of their background, because of their name, and I've hear that a lot. Yeah, so there are that does happen, which is a bit concerning, I have to say. And what I also don't like is when it comes to DEI is yes, let's anonymize the CV. Everything should be neutral, no names, no nothing. I think this is actually not good at all because what happens? Yeah, you said like, okay, within 3 years you should have your bachelor. Within 2 years you should have your master. But your life is not straight. What if you flee for
Hmm.
more? What if you are a parent? Yeah, so it does then not really take everything into consideration. And then what actually that does is you select out the privileged, yeah, or the not privileged people.
Hmm.
Yeah, I haven't finished my master's with. I had a child. I had to work on top of that, full time. Yeah, and then studied. Yeah, so what if then I would fall out of this, for example? And I think that like neutrality, I don't believe it does not help DEI efforts at all. And I would say that this whole AI and helping in recruiting, but more screening the CVs is a trend we should watch. I can imagine that it will be a debate at a certain point, a bigger debate, and maybe more regulated or whatever. But I think this is what I see now. It's easier. Yeah. But I think
Interesting,
overall in general,
interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, honestly, this is a super interesting point because, the general idea that I hear is that this anonymity is good because, you cannot see like nationality, you cannot see age, but actually your point is super valid because it really removes some part of diversity actually. So for sure it's gonna be controversial at some point, and specifically with this like AI pick and choosing. This is something we see as well, since we're using our CRM systems and stuff, our own pipelines, and it also, it's not forced to use AI, but it also, put this small page like, here's your AI suggestion or something, and of course, like it's slowly getting into our recruitment processes. And yeah, maybe to like sum it all up, something you've mentioned, and I think this is something we did not actually cover, is this non-classical life path. If you are a parent, if you had some reasons to prolong your studies, if you had any reasons to have a break from your career, and this thing of like career gap is still really huge in recruitment, that most of the companies do not really like those career gappers or career switchers, like career jumpers, whatever you call it. And
Hmm.
yeah,
Job
maybe
hoppers.
job hoppers, right? Right. And maybe this is like the summing up topic I would like to cover on how do you see this working currently in our setup of recruitment in Germany, if it's shifting towards a change or if it's still like a huge thing happening here. Yeah, Sevkan, maybe for you to start with.
I think with our generation, it's way more natural that you switch jobs. Yeah, actually, I think it's even like, oh, you are in a job 20 years or 10 years. It's more like unusual if you see that on LinkedIn that someone is celebrating 10 years. I think now it's more connected with you change jobs, you evolve, you develop, you learn more. Yeah. But the older generation, my father cannot understand why I'm working for startups. It's and and that I'm changing my jobs, and he wants me to work for a traditional company, stay there 20 years. But I think we all now see, oh gosh, I want a dynamic, I want to learn, I want to grow, and that changed. Yeah, I think, but just again, maybe there is this gap between the generations, but I would say that it's also now way more understanding. Sabbaticals are accepted, career breaks are accepted, you travel, it's accepted. Yeah, when you see that gap, that I think this is a positive change. I don't know anyone that says. I think I had that also like 2 3 times that I heard it. Hey, you changed, because I was like, yeah, this company went insolvent. We know how startups it's volatile. I said, then this had a mass, layoff, so you get affected by it, and now it's way different how it's all seen. But generationally, I think it's, I see
Right.
still traditional companies and employees working there for 25 years, and it's like, wow.
It rather looks unusual at this point. Yeah, and Theo, how about you in terms of, since right now you are looking for like new joiners for your company, how do you see this from the perspective of the founder? If it's something, I mean, I know we've discussed that diversity plays a really huge part in you as like an automatic, maybe a natural thing, but is it something you also pay attention to when looking through profiles?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes back to this point of being 20 years in the same company, or 25 years, or us, hiring somebody in the longer run, and I would never think, okay, this person will stick with us forever, because not even myself want to stick with my company for 20 years. Like, it's a startup, it's a project, it's one chapter of my life that either I will make it successful or I learned a lot of it, and then I go to the next chapter. I think we have to see us more as human beings, and we have to see more this is normal, and not treating us as machines that are staying in a company for so many years. And I think this changes us as well in our personal development. And sabbaticals, traveling does so many things to us, our personal development, resilience, like so many aspects. So as you said, my parents until today, they don't understand what I'm doing. What is podcast? Like, it's really funny, but they're coming from this generation of security is like the
Yes.
value. And it differs with me. I have different values. Safety is not on my even 3, 5 values. So obviously I make different decisions for my own path. And so we should see humans as humans. We should treat each other more human and understand us. And, we never know. We cannot control anybody. And just to be open and to see uncertainty as something that it belongs to our life, and that we will change, and it nothing wrong with us if we change even 10 career paths. It's just part of it. So yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like a great summing up thought, in my opinion, here for this conversation. From my end, I think I asked and discussed with you pretty much everything I wanted to. Is there anything you would like to add, or I don't know, put into like further conversation that might be happening, or in general, like your feelings as like yourself personally? Anything is super welcomed here at this point.
I mean, I only wanted to add to this, whoever listens to it, just reflect on yourself. How much are you judging towards other people? And it's okay, right? We have this natural instinct of judgment, unfortunately, because we have to put people really fast into boxes. So just reflect on yourself. I think reflection, everything starts with ourselves, and with reflection, reflect on your behavior, on your thoughts, and your emotions, and then try to change it. Try to become more open by being curious about other people. Nobody wants to take away anything from you. And that's like everybody tries to, live life. So try to reflect on yourself and work on becoming a more open-minded and open-hearted person. And yeah, I think this is how we could change the world to a better in any part.
Thank you,
Yes,
Theo.
Theo, I think that that's really good what you said, and I always say, be curious. If something is new, you don't know it, get to know it, and you will see how maybe much you will like it and you will enjoy it. This is, I would like to add something.
100%.
Super agreed. Yeah. So yeah, thank you so much for this conversation. It was super interesting and super lovely to meet you and talk and have this like super in-depth conversation. I actually got a bunch of thoughts I never had actually, and like different directions. So it's super valuable. I'm super thankful for having you here. And yeah, and at this stage, I would say we could call it a day here. And yeah, we also have several other topics covered in other webinars we had. You could find it on our LinkedIn, on our website, pretty much everywhere. Please feel free to connect with our speakers because I think it's always a nice networking thingy to have here. And yeah, please join Avomind as companies, as applicants. We're always happy to see you here. And yeah, thank you so much, both of you, Sevkan,
Thank you
Theo.
also for having us. It was really great. Thank you, Theo, for sharing what you know. I really respect it. Remote is tough.
I will come back to you, eh? Thank you so much.
Thank you both.